If you want to start winning more fights in Fortnite and play like an FNCS pro, this is what you need to understand. I broke down Khanada's fighting tips, who is one of the most consistent FNCS players, and broke it down into 4 simple steps that anyone can follow, because most players don't lose fights from bad mechanics. They lose fights because they don't understand what's actually happening. And the biggest difference is that top players don't just play fast. They know when to slow down and read the fight. So let's break this down into 4 simple steps, starting with the most important one. Step 1. Peaks. This is something that Khanada does perfectly, and it's the reason that he almost never takes unnecessary damage. Because most players edit instantly, but pros take a second to position first instead of making a wide open edit. Even pros make mistakes like this, which is why you need to lock this skill into your gameplay. Because 1 month ago, pro player Clix made this mistake against PeterBot.
I'm gonna fight you 500 then, okay? Yeah. On me, looking, look at me.
Clix sees them.
Saw him, saw him.
Clix sees them. Oh my god, and we still get pumped! What do you mean? He saw them! He edited to both of them!
As you can see in this example, I am constantly using peaks to get an advantage over my opponents. And this is what I mean by playing slow. Not slow like a coward, but slow enough to take the right shot instead of a rushed one. Step 2. Controlling the fight. This is where I noticed the biggest difference when I actually tried this myself. Before, I would just run at one wall, start pickaxing, and hope I got in. But after watching how Khanada plays, I realized that's not how you're supposed to fight. In these examples, I was able to get eliminations by controlling the fight. You can see that I'm constantly placing builds around my opponents so I can use them to my advantage. Right here, you can see how my opponent is playing defense, so I trick him by holding one wall and catch him off guard by phasing through another wall. And this is just a great example of controlling your opponent's thinking. Most people think that you can only control fights in offense mode, but you can also control fights in defense mode. Cause right here, my opponent got me really low, so I controlled the fight by backing up and getting pieces around me. Knowing that he is rushing me to get this elimination, I take advantage of his mistakes, leading me to eliminate him. Now we're moving on to step 3, defense. This is honestly where I used to lose most of my fights, because before I would get hit and I'd box up and just sit in one box trying to heal, and every time I'd get pressure, make a mistake, and die. But after watching how Khanada defends, I realized that the problem wasn't my mechanics, it was how I was reacting. So instead of panicking and staying in one box, I started to create more space immediately, and with that space that you make, you move around, changing your position constantly. So now when your opponent is hitting the wrong box, I'm already repositioned and ready to counterattack. And once you stop panicking, you will start winning fights by turning the defense to offense. Step 4. Prediction. This is where everything started to click for me. Before, I would come into fights not thinking at all. But after analyzing Khanada, I realized that he's not reacting at all, he's predicting. So I started to slow it down and actually watch what my opponent was doing. And a great way to practice is to utilize 1v1 build fights. As you can see, I'm constantly trying to predict pieces on my opponent and following where they are going. But one thing that is the most important in Fortnite will always be your aim. That's why I use this specific game mode in Aimlabs to hit headshots like this, because the specific game mode allows a player to get better at flicking, which is a crucial skill with a shotgun in Fortnite. And with that, please let me know if you guys enjoy these tips and comment down below for any questions you have. Until next time, peace Fortnite lovers.